Hey everybody, and welcome to Twin Talk, a video discussion show where twin brothers Chris and Kevin drink and draw while talking about comic books, movies, and all things pop culture. We are your hosts, Chris Hart,
Kevin Hart,
and today we're going to be talking about Wandavision, Episode 6.
Things are getting real spooky up in Westview. We open with a very Malcolm in the Middle intro, complete with Billy narrating to the audience the story so far. He's got his Wiccan headband on and his red cape from the comics. And speaking of, Wanda finally has her comic book accurate Scarlet Witch getup. And man, is she working it.
I love this episode. This was my favorite episode so far, solely for the fact about the costume designs on everybody. Everybody looks amazing. Vision comes down wearing these like yellow gym shorts. He looks incredible. It's
yellow Converse.
It's great. It's comic accurate. I also appreciate Quicksilver coming in, Pietro going out the door and coming back in with his comic accurate costume all the way back from the 60s from the Avengers, and even complete with the hair that's affected by the wind, which is definitely an homage to Wolverine too. You know, they definitely did that because they both had like Wolverine hair, and he's doing his best Ace Ventura impersonation. So. I loved it.
I was expecting him to rip out of the anus of a rhinoceros.
Alrighty then. Things are getting a little bit dicey now. We see that with the big reveal of last week with Quicksilver coming at the door. Now he's part of the family. He's drinking Surge sodas, Mountain Dews.
He's the deadbeat uncle on the couch.
Yeah. He's your typical fun uncle that like has no responsibility. But we see that Vision, he's like starting to suspect a few things. So now he wants to go on his own. He comes up with this alibi that he's going on the neighborhood watch with his boys in Westview to make sure that there's no delinquency on this Halloween night. But we know that he's going to be looking for some clues as to what is truly happening in Westview. Quicksilver was pretty quick to push Vision out and say, let me watch the kids. Let me watch the kids. So this is where my Mephisto theories are coming in, where we're going to start seeing that those characteristics come out.
Definitely. Right away we see that even Wanda has her suspicions about him. Their childhood memories are not syncing up. She even says that he's full of surprises. I think that's foreshadowing what's to come to the audience of who his true identity is later on. Many were speculating last week with the reveal of Evan Peters as Quicksilver that this was Marvel introducing Fox's X-Men into the MCU. But I think X-Men's later on down the line. But I do think because there are rumors that Evan Peters is supposed to play Mephisto. I think this is just him hiding his true identity. I believe this is an intentional misdirection on Marvel's part for the audience. And we'll see who he is really down the line. Also, I don't feel that this Evan Peters cameo is the Luke Skywalker reveal that everyone was talking about.
Not.
It's a big moment, yes, but I feel that he's definitely not Luke Skywalker level of a character.
No, definitely not.
And so I think either that's going to be Doctor Strange or Reed Richards. I'm hoping it's Reed Richards, because if they introduce the Fantastic Four here, man, Marvel's just take all my money. They're planting the seeds for the Fantastic Four.
If John Krasinski doesn't show up next week, I send it back. Because we see in this episode, we're still waiting on that cameo from whoever she's talking
Who's
to
the
on
contact?
the other end.
Yeah.
The aerospace engineer that she was talking about. A lot of people are speculating that it'll be Reed Richards, and that'd be amazing. Kevin Feige I believe he went on record saying that he has no plans for the X-Men for at least 5 years. Although by the end of this episode, we see that Wanda makes the hex bigger, and we know that Monica is like getting like mutated cells from this, so which is going to lead into her obviously as either Captain Marvel or Photon or Spectrum, whatever they're going to call her in this universe. But we're seeing the first sights of that. But if it affects her, wouldn't it affect everybody? So would this maybe be mutations? I don't know. I'm sure Marvel has a plan, but that could be a theory.
True. Even Darcy got sucked into this hex because she was handcuffed to the stored car. Will she be getting powers? Because if you do one rule to one character, kind of has to apply to them all, right? Unless she's like
something special about her.
Because she was around Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. Mm-hmm. Did she like generate some of this energy power? Who knows? Hopefully they didn't write themselves into a corner.
Yeah, Kat Denning, she's gonna get sucked into the hex, and we see everybody transforming into different things. I believe she'll show up as the waitress from Two Broke Girls.
That would be genius.
I think that would be a nice little, wink, wink to the audience.
Also, quickly speaking about Monica Rambeau, I really like the theme in this episode of they're hinting towards grief. That when she went into the hex, she felt the grief of Wanda. She shares that grief too, because we know that her mother just passed away from cancer. And so I'm wondering if in the climax of the show, whether she gets her powers or not, because she's clearly trying to get back into the hex with her plan here, Will she be the catalyst that helps redeem Wanda? Because Wanda, she's doing some bad things. I know taking an entire town hostage is a no bueno, but we see that she cares for the kids. She brings the kids in Westview back somehow, but also she makes Uncle Pietro, who's a totally bad influence, return all the candy. So we see that she's deep down a redeemable character.
Did he return all the candy?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
Before he actually tells the audience too. He literally tells his plan. He says, "This is what you wanted," and he speaks about that grief. Is that he said, "I was sent here. Like you wanted me to come to fight with your husband and give the kids, be a bad influence to them." But he also says to give you grief. So again, I'm talking about that conflict of grief in this series. Is that going to be the theme of whether because Monica's dealing with it head on, but Wanda's clearly denying it. So I'm thinking that that's where the show is headed, and I love that aspect.
I believe she even said it in this episode that I know what Wanda's feeling. So,
Well, because Monica was allowed into Westview. She said a telepath, you knew who I was, a sword agent. She said, I'm an ally in a few episodes back. So again, I'm wondering if they're going to have this big feud by the end. Will she help kind of pull Wanda back to the good side?
By the end of the episode, the real MVP, Vision, keeps walking out of the hex. We see that he's getting sucked back in. And I really loved this episode for Vision because you see that he's such a hero, even though he's just an android. That he's such a hero. Like when he goes and visits Agnes at the end of Ellis Avenue, and she's like, "Are you Vision? Are you here to help?" He's like, "I am Vision. I am here to help." But he didn't know who the Avengers were, so that was a cool thing to me. I was like, okay, so is this Vision the actual corpse that she kind of brought to life, or is this a manifestation of something else from another entity or person that is trying to lure Wanda into different things? Who knows? I
think Wanda put him back together because she stole his corpse, and obviously the guy Hayward, the director of S.W.O.R.D., is trying to weaponize him.
Yeah,
it looks like because he's tracking Vision, he's not really tracking Wanda.
I'm still calling that there's going to be an Ultron tie-in at the end of this show,
or an AIM. I'm thinking maybe is this an AIM tie-in too that we were thinking about earlier with the beekeeper and the hexagon? So maybe they're not done with that because we
Why
know
not
that
both? Give us both.
Yeah. AIM uses advanced idea mechanics. They have all these weapons against the Avengers, so maybe this is the tie-in. Or maybe he's just trying to fight fire with fire. He sees the danger. He mentioned a few things that you had no idea how hard it was to keep the lights on during the snap. So I think he's just kind of seeing like a general Thunderbolt Ross, where he's doing what he has to. Yeah, Vision's trying to leave Westview. He's going past that boundary of Ellis Avenue. He's coming out head like a hole. Black is your soul. I'd rather die than give you control.
I was saying before, I really appreciate the heroism of Vision in this episode because he's just coming out of this thing. It's ripping him to shreds, and he's still just trying to push. And he's like, "Help! We need to help these people." So, as like I said, he's one of my favorite Avengers. So this episode, all it did was reconfirm that for me.
There was a lot of fun in this episode too. I think even the movie theater. It's clearly around the 90s or 2000s era with the Malcolm in the Middle thing. Even the movie theater in the background was playing The Incredibles and The Parent Trap, a nice tie-in. Both Walt Disney properties, by the way.
Of course.
Nice plug, but nice reference to the fact that it's a family of superheroes, and also The Parent Trap, I believe, was a Lindsay Lohan remake that they fooled the parents by switching siblings. So that's a nice tie-in to this whole Quicksilver mystery. And even the line of them saying kick-ass, I don't think that's unintentional. Both of those actors were in that movie who played Quicksilver, Aaron Taylor-Johnson and Evan Peters. So I think that was just a funny reference for those that knew. Live adaptation of Mark Millar's graphic novel. Other than that, I think we leave with more questions. Another short episode. It ended and I was like, ugh.
I hate how short these episodes are.
Wanda expanded Westview, so we'll see what comes with that. Again, we were saying about the tie-in with these cell mutations. Who knows what consequences that'll bring.
That was great, though. The end of this episode was amazing. First things first, we see that Quicksilver's kind of getting under her skin. She's questioning him, testing him. He even says, "You're testing me," because he asked about some bully or whatever kid that they knew growing up, and he never answers the question. He's always deflecting. We see that she gets a little fed up because then the boys. Let's talk about the boys for a second.
Yeah,
Tommy and Billy.
They get their powers.
They get their powers, and even Billy's wearing his comic accurate costume, which was very nice to see. And he starts to suspect that he can hear Vision screaming outside of the hex, and he's like, "Dad's in trouble. We need to go help him." And Wanda is just like, "Hold up a second." She freezes everybody. Her eyes go red, and she starts owning everything and spreading the hex, which I thought that was great to do that because now we're seeing that this can potentially be
world changing,
an extinction level event. Even though these
Yeah.
people aren't dead, they might as well be dead because they're all like crying while they're all mimicking whatever she wants in her own mind.
Yeah, there's a few questions that I'm left with, which is why are the people on the edge kind of just like
Not moving.
not
at all.
moving?
Yeah. That was
Also, the
weird.
kids, they came back. What's that about? Is she starting to be happy? Again, with the whole thing with grief. Is she starting to become happy, and now she brings back other people's children? I have no idea. So I'm hooked on the show right now, and I can't wait to see what this culminates in during the climax in the last 3 episodes.
Wanda's definitely getting fed up with Pietro now that the Vision's in jeopardy here, and he's like, "Oh, like you can't save your dead husband who died twice or whatever," and she just kind of like pushes him out of the side. She's fed up with him, and how would he even know that Vision died?
What happened after
when he died in Age of Ultron, and Vision's death was much later. So that right there is a red flag for me about him being Mephisto. There's a lot of things, even the that brief. Very 90s-esque commercial about like very
The like Danimals,
yeah, like Danimals or Dunkaroos or Go-Gurt, any incredible snack in the 90s that gave no craps about the FDA or healthcare.
What you're putting in your body.
Yeah, they were just like, if it looks awesome and colorful, digest it.
Give it to the kids.
Yeah, so, but we see that this one, it's like a claymation shark, and he comes out the water and he offers this like kid who's stranded some like yogurt. It's called Yo Magic. And he's like, "Oh, I've been sucking off Yo Magic," which
Suck it off.
I think I've been stealing Yo Magic, whatever he says.
Been zoinking you off.
I've been doinking these doinks. I don't remember the exact line he says, but for now, let's go with "I've been sucking off Yo Magic," and he gives this kid the yogurt, and the kid is like, "Oh, I'm saved," and then he tries to open it, never opens, then he dies. So like to me, that was like a metaphor for like Mephisto like stealing Wanda's magic in trade almost of souls and things that she cares about that are gonna die. So that's what I took from that. You said you didn't find it as a...
I didn't get it at first, but now that you say that, it kind of makes sense because even Mephisto, Evan Peters, Quicksilver, whoever you want to call him, he even says when he let them go trick or treating, he says, "Really, unleash hell, demon spawn," and then he looks at Wanda weirdly. That can't be a coincidence. And also, like you said, is he trying to get her powers after? Because we know that he's pretty powerful and he can control time and space. But he's even asking her, "How did you do it? How did you make this all happen?"
Yeah, so obviously Wanda definitely started this event.
She doesn't know how.
She doesn't remember how, but she's definitely in control. We see that she can expand the hex.
All the people keep saying, "Stop her.
Stop her," yeah. And I don't think it's Agnes. For a while there, Agnes was getting a little shady to me. She could still be. Who knows? What have we got? 3 episodes left?
Looked like she was trying to leave.
Looked like she was trying to leave and she didn't remember where she was going and stuff. So, but I'm going to think that she's not at play here because Vision kind of took her out of like a trance.
Character, yeah.
Yeah, so I think she's more innocent than harmful at this point. So I feel like Wanda is in control, or at least, she's definitely in control. We see that with her expanding the hex. But if she started this and doesn't remember somehow, who knows? Maybe it was just a mental breakdown, but maybe it caught Mephisto's eye. He's like, okay, what is this power? Because we know that this is definitely the most powerful that Wanda's been in all of the MCU timelines, that she's finally reaching her potential. So that would definitely attract somebody like Mephisto
To use that as a...
to go see what's going on and even, shimmy in there a little bit.
Use someone's weakness, kick her wall down. And that's why I think it's going to go into this climax of this battle of grief and the conflict between Wanda denying reality and Monica trying to help her accept it. Meanwhile, Mephisto's trying to give her this grief to fuel her power, take her power. Who knows? We'll see in the next 3 episodes. Anyways, that about wraps up today's episode of Twin Talk. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, comment below to join the discussion, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content. We'll see you next time. Peace!